Disclaimer: if you don't believe in miracles, if you don't believe in God, don't watch this video, okay? Hi guys, my name is Bisola Miriam and this is Clarity in some whatever seconds. And today I'm just going to share with you very quickly how I was able to plan a successful and amazing book launch in the US. How exactly did I plan a successful and amazing book launch in the United States? So to start with, I had this idea to launch my book several months ago, and it was really because I wanted to tell my story. I wanted people to know that the narrative or what my ex-partner was saying to me, was saying about me, was not the true reflection of who I am or what I'd experienced in the toxic relationship. And so I wanted to go public with my story, and I wanted people to hear from me. And I didn't just want to do some random social media post and at the end of the day, like your post just sinks after other posts come up, and people forget about it. I wanted to write a book that I was going to keep selling, keep donating, or keep having people donate money for, so that we could actually make those books available and accessible to those who need to hear that kind of story, especially stories that pertain to narcissistic relationships or marriage or love relationship with narcissistic people. And so writing the book was a big deal for me, and I needed to put myself together. The first thing I did was to sign up for an accountability program by Warital, and the accountability program was basically what kept me focused. It wasn't easy juggling finals, like trying to wrap up my final semester with writing the book and also fulfilling some other life requirements and attending classes and turning in papers. It wasn't easy, but for some reason I was able to pull through because I knew that I had so much on my plate. And so the first thing I did, let me teach you the strategies. The very first strategy that I did was to plan my day. So every day during the time I started working on trying to meet my goal, I would write down the things to do for the day in the order of priority. So I was trying. I'm a human, so sometimes I sleep, but a lot of times I was able to focus on what was important, because I had a guide, which was to do what really matters per day. And so I would do that. And so after that, the next thing that I was able to also achieve was to also put myself together and ensure that, hey, now that I'm able to achieve these goals, the next thing would be to, now that I'm able to achieve my daily set goals, it then became easy. Or after I mastered focusing on the things that I need to do per day before I even come online or use social media, okay, it made it easy for me to simply do what was important. For instance, writing was now something I had to do daily, because doing it daily made it easy for me to get the results. And so signing up for the accountability program was an icing on the cake, really, because I was already disciplining myself to get things done. And the reality is, if I was not able to write or put myself together, there is really nothing that the accountability coach would have done for me. So you need to be self-motivated before anyone can help you with anything. So strategy one is self-motivation and plan your schedule. If you plan your schedule, you're able to focus on the activities, goal achieving activities. That is the things that will help you achieve that goal on a daily, hourly, or on a daily and weekly basis. Now, after I wrote my first draft, the next thing that I needed to do was to start working on editing the book, right? So I got an editor. Before I got an editor, I participated in an election, in a very traumatizing election. I had a major trip to Chicago. So these two things kind of delayed my ability to start working with an editor on time. And so I had to just bring myself back to the vibration of concentration on the task that I needed to accomplish. And so it was hard. So the thing I'm trying to help you learn is, even no matter how motivated you are, there will be times that you're just drained, you're just tired, you're just exhausted, and you don't want to do it again. But for some reason, you need to ask yourself. I think it's important to ask yourself, why did you set out to write that story? Why did you set out to write that book? If you know the reason why you wrote, if you're sure and you remember, or you keep reminding yourself the reason you wrote the book in the first place, it is easier for you to concentrate and focus, because it is not easy to focus, especially when you are drained or life is happening to you and you're just exhausted. And so ask yourself, and always remind yourself, strategy 2, know your why. Okay, know the emotional why, the emotions behind that goal. If you know the emotions behind that goal, no matter how tired you get, you keep going on. Strategy 1, identify your goal and plan your goal achieving activities with a planner and stick to it as much as possible. 2, emotionalize your goal. If there is an emotion behind that goal, you know that you have to get it done. If you know the number of people who are suffering from the same toxic marriages out there, or the same toxicity, you need to tell yourself that your story matters in the narratives out there, or it might be different from what people are used to, and that is why you need to tell the story. That might be the motivation that you need. The third thing that I want to teach you very quickly has to do with manifestation. So manifestation is the idea that you desire a thing, you visualize it, you get emotionally involved in that idea, and you begin to see the steps that you need to take to make that thing become a reality. It's also basically the law of attraction, which is the idea that what you think about, you would come about. What you gravitate, what you think and dwell on, you will manifest in the physical. So I kept dwelling on the idea that I was going to launch my book at Brime Conference Center. I was going to have people stand around me on the day that I'm going to launch my book. I was going to do this, I was going to do that. And I knew that, hey, it was a difficult time of the semester to get people to come for a book launch, not even a party, a lunch. It's somewhat academic in a time when a lot of people are just trying to catch fun, summer. Also, it was on a Tuesday, for God's sake, Tuesday of all days of the week, a weekday, and at a time when people were just getting off work. And so the day that I had my book launch was a day I should not have had anybody in attendance. I tell you, a lot of people had traveled. Most people were not in town. 2, those that were in town were working. It was a weekday. And 3, those who were just getting off work were probably so tired. 3rd, again, it was at a time of the semester when things are not really going on, like no serious activity, nothing so fun, and all of that. But I wanted to launch my book on that day. And I manifested it because I was focusing more on what would work in my favor than what was not going to work. Yes, I didn't have the attendance that I would have had if it was a weekend, and if it was on the day, or if it was in the fall or spring semester when a lot of students are around. But I had it exactly the best way could have been. The people who came made a good number for a book launch. Do you understand? And so I'm sharing all of this so you can learn that it is possible to have anything you want, especially when you're willing to put in the work and you focus on the God in you to will and to do, than the external factors that really have no business in the dream and the goal that God has put in your mind or your head or in front of you. I'll share lastly the very strategies that made it possible for me to have a successful launch. Aside from planning and sticking to a schedule, aside from the fact that I was able to choose to find the right emotion or motivation for my goal, I was also able to, focus on the feeling more than the logic. And it was the feeling that helped me sort out the financial aspect of my launch. What is the feeling? The feeling, the idea that I don't care, I don't have money in the bank, but I will have a book launch. I don't care, I don't have money in the bank. I shall know say I go do this event and it go totally, it go make sense. I was focusing on the fact that this thing would happen with or without me having the resources. And how did that happen? Which is the last thing I'm going to share with you here. The things that I had to do. First, I had to make a deposit of $600 for the hall, which was worth $2,500. And because the hall allows people to make that kind of deposit, first, I was able to get the date. And so no one could take that hall for that date because I paid a deposit. Okay. And I could afford $600 because at least I'm a student. I still get paid $1,000 for a month. So I was able to use a major part of my stipend to key the date. The other thing that I did was to pay $50 to the DJ. The DJ was willing to take $50 for a service that was worth $400. At the end of the day, I paid $350, so I paid $40